computer. Well, hello there. This is a special episode of Find Your Niche with the founder who found the niche of finding your niche, Maya Shukairy. And we are here today with Hamna Anwar, who's got, I think, the highest rated Find Your Niche episode to date. She's the one to beat. Myself, the premiere episode, we were testing out in the yard, and we're here to talk about the Find Your Niche series. So Maya, I think we'll start with Hamna, and I want to know what gave you the idea for the Find Your Niche series. How did you come up with it?
First of all, it's very nice to see you ladies. It's very awkward for me to be in this position. I'm not used to it, but at least it's nice to be chatting with you. For Finding Your Niche, actually, it was, as you know, WiCCD has an education committee. And during one of our discussions in the committee, we were talking about some of the issues that female lawyers were facing. And one of these issues were, sadly, that many of them are leaving the bar and going either to the Crown Office or just leaving criminal defense altogether, or criminal law, altogether. And so one of the things that came out during those discussions is that maybe if if there was some guidance as to the different areas of specialization within criminal law, if people were more aware of them, maybe that could help. If people knew that, you can specialize your practice instead of having it like general and open-ended where you're doing all kinds of cases. Maybe if you focus on a more specific type of area within criminal law, maybe that could help, have I would say, easier to manage practice, because you're only doing one type of cases. You can get better at that more easily. And maybe that will help in, managing a practice and saving some of our very amazing colleagues that we lost, sadly, in the recent years. So that was how the series started, though. It was just to help people see different types of niches that exist within criminal law. But as we started doing this more and more, it seems like it's changing a bit, and we're liking more the aspect that we're getting to know more about each other through these series. I mean, there are many lawyers that I know and that I've spoken to, whether it's through at conferences or through work, but I never really got to know who they really are and their stories. And I just found that with Finding Your Niche, one very nice thing is that I'm getting to know my colleagues better, not just as lawyers, but as people. And I'm getting to know more about their backgrounds and their lives. And I think a lot of people are enjoying that aspect as well. Hamna's episode was very interesting because she really opened up and she told us about her history and her, not just what she does as a lawyer, but just the struggles that she had to face on a personal level. And that was really very nice. And that's probably one of the reasons why, Hamna, your episode is very popular, and Jenny's as well is very popular because we have her baby with her as well. So
let's not forget Cassandra.
Yes,
Cassandra was the one to beat till Jenny and Hamna came along with a baby and a story. There are a lot of high-scoring ladies out there. Yes. So the impetus was to highlight areas of specialization, but since then it's really evolving, and we're finding the ones that really touch the viewers are the ones where you're hearing the personal stories of the women. And Hamna, your episode obviously resonated with a lot of women in defense. Tell us what being part of this series meant to you, and what your experience of participating as a FYN guest with Maya was like.
So firstly, when Maya asked me to be interviewed, I was completely shocked. And that's generally my reaction to when people want to include me in something. I always wonder, oh, what can I offer to the audience, right? It's that doubting yourself. But in terms of being interviewed by Maya, as you know, Maya does a very freestyle type of interview. We didn't practice for it. We knew where the conversation might lead, but the questions sort of came in the moment. And as I was talking, I didn't realize I was being quite vulnerable. It was difficult to talk about these things, knowing that there's an audience out there. But having spoken about all of these things, I realize now how important it is for people to hear these stories and know about the difficulties we face, because everyone can paint a glossy picture. So in my episode, I didn't sugarcoat anything. And to be honest, I felt quite scandalized even sharing it. But I thank Maya for giving me the opportunity. Now I know I can always talk about my story and people would pick something from it. And I think a couple of episodes following my interview with Maya also had very vulnerable moments. People were very candid in their conversations. So I'm wondering now from Maya, how does it feel to be on the other side, to ask people questions that may involve them being vulnerable, and people's reaction to that, because it's not always easy to talk about these things and people may not think this is the proper platform. So just wondering about your thought process with that.
So it's definitely not easy, and it will depend on the person, right? Like I will always, before I interview them, I just ask them if there is anything that they don't want me to talk about, or if there are some areas that's a red flag they don't want to address. So I do that. Like there is no, I mean, we don't really prepare for the interview, but there is like a 5-minute discussion before the interview where I just try to see if there are some red flags or if there are some no areas. But I mean, honestly, I mean, it's been something that is very spontaneous, and I hope that this is something that people are seeing through the interviews, is that I just go with the flow with whatever they're telling me, and whatever the person is willing to share, I'll just, explore that area even more. It's been really very interesting to discover a lot about so many colleagues and some things that, like there was no way I would have known. Like, for example, Sarah Rankin, like I had no idea she had that very interesting artistic background. And that really helps when you're a lawyer, because there is some theater when you're a lawyer. I mean, especially if you're doing jury trials. I mean, it's a performance. And if you already have performance skills, I think that helps. And so that was very nice to hear from Sarah about that. I don't know if I answered your question, Hamna.
No, yeah, you definitely did, because the part the host plays in the conversation is very important. Because I think personally, I felt quite comfortable with you. I thought I was talking to a friend, even though we had never talked about all of this before. But because you created that comfortable environment and you just sort of kept asking and asking. So it looks like it comes natural to you. So kudos to you.
Do you mind if I just jump in here for a second, just to say, no one's asking me, and that's okay. Although I feel like Barristers Act was raised with me recently. I feel like as senior counsel, I can just jump in and take over and hip check everyone else out of the way. It's my right as a grandma, auntie, and mom. Let me tell you what this thing means to me. I think number one, when we did the premiere last June, we were really, just cutting our teeth on this thing. Maya had the idea, and she very kindly proposed that I'd be the first guest, and we were just feeling our way around it. And I remember, we did the episode. I was out in my yard, birds were chirping. My face is in and out of the sunlight all the time. It's got the sort of feel of an indie movie, very, experimental about it. And I remember Maya showed it to her mom, and she said that her mom loved it and loved the interview and loved the idea. And we thought that was a good sign. I think for me, not just for me personally, but I think for members of WiCCD and for women in criminal defense and young women, racialized women, women in the law, this series actually has sort of profound and broad-reaching meaning well beyond each episode. I mean, I really like on Sunday mornings to watch the numbers climb. I get really excited. I'm always checking back in. 6 a.m. we post them, and right, you know, right away they'll have 3 or 4 hits, and I always want to know who those 3 or 4 people are at 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning watching these interviews. And then I like to see them picking up steam, and I like to see the patterns of viewing them. I'm actually quite involved with the science of it, and I bore Maya with it all the time. I look at the analytics. YouTube gives you all kinds of analytics. How long are people watching? Which parts are piquing the interest of the people? But the number one thing that it does is, I don't know, Maya, if you appreciate how meaningful this is, because what we're doing and what you're doing with this series is spotlighting, centering, and celebrating a woman, a practitioner of criminal defense, every single week, sort of relentlessly and routinely normalizing, you know, giving the stage, giving the platform to a woman's voice, unencumbered by male voices. You don't have a man interviewing a woman, you have a woman interviewing a woman. And it's not, you know, a special episode of something where a woman in defense is, you know, among many male voices, you know, being spotlighted, but it becomes the norm. Here's this parade of dozens of accomplished, brilliant, talented women practicing criminal defense. It completely normalizes it. It's letting our members know these women are out there. These women are succeeding. They're finding their niche. And that has sort of systemic impact in terms of normalizing women's successes and destigmatizing women, breaking down implicit biases. It's very hard for anyone to claim women can't do this work when we've got the receipts. And here's our, you know, 24 videos thus far, and we're on a roll, and there's no end to it. Right.
And also, just to add on that, Anita, I mean, I agree with everything you said. And what's also very nice is that it shows how, you know, we have different personalities, right? It's like not one lawyer has, you know, like the same personality as another. So
what's strange, Lisa Jean is with us. What's that about? Who's Lisa? What's going on? Oh, wait a minute. What's that? Jordana? Is that Jordana's logo?
Is that? Hi.
Neha? What is happening? I've got people coming into the waiting room. 1 second.
Yeah. Hi.
What?
Hi, Lisa.
Miranda?
This is.
What do these women have in common? I don't know. Sarah Rankin? We were just talking about Sarah Rankin. What is happening? Hamna? Maya, what do you know about this?
I have no idea what's going on.
Jennifer Clemens here. I don't know if you remember doing her episode. But Stephanie's with us. Hi, Maya.
Hi.
I see Ruth is waiting.
Oh, what?
And here's your friend Tanya. Wonder if she's been part of this series.
Well,
what is happening?
Well, they were all
Shauna,
my guests.
Is it all your guests? It might
like
be.
it.
That's a good guess. Cassandra, whose episode is lagging slightly behind Hamna, to say that while she's coming in from the waiting room. Look, Maya, it's all the Find Your Niche alumni, and they're here to celebrate you and to celebrate the series.
Thank God you didn't cancel. We picked the wrong day for the Osgood event, and I was like, "Oh God, she better."
I know.
And I had a lot of pressure.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. For Maya, I think it's safe to say she's very surprised. So,
I'm sure.
So far, well done, everyone. If you can turn on your cameras, I think this is one event where we'd be really happy to see your faces. Now, we have organized. Danielle Robitaille accused me of being such a mom yesterday when I was trying to take a group photo. So in the mom role, we have organized party games for your party, Maya. And for the next little bit, we're playing a game called Secret Maya. It's a little bit like Secret Santa. I don't know if there's anyone here who actually celebrates Christmas, but it's like Secret Santa. We're going to play a little Secret Maya game. And Hamna and I are going to rotate back and forth. I was distracted there for a minute because I had lost my unbelievably complicated list of questions that have been assigned to various women to ask other women. And so we're going to start. Each woman is going to ask a single question of another Find Your Niche alumni. And you have about 1 minute, possibly 1.5 minutes to answer your question. So we're going to start with Tanya asking Jordana her question.
Hey, Jordana.
Hi, Tanya.
So my question is, how do you ensure to have a life when it comes to running your own practice without much help? And I know that you have an associate, I think you have an associate or two, but I remember calling you once and calling your number over and over again, and then realizing you did not have a receptionist because I did not realize I was calling your cell phone. So, and I'm sort of in that same thing, so in that same position. So how do you ensure to have a life? Because I feel like you have a life. I've seen you and like you go places. I know you have your gun license. I have mine too. But I also have never been able to go to a gun range because I have no life. So how do you do this?
So yeah, I have 2 associates and a student, and I think just over time you learn how to do things efficiently. And I think that's the key to maintaining some semblance of balance. I also get up really early in the morning. So I start my work day normally around 7 a.m., which gives me the opportunity to get to the gym every night by 7 p.m., have some time on the weekends. It took me a long time to learn how to delegate. I was a sole practitioner for 4 years, and learning to trust people with my practice was huge. But once I figured out that I could do that, it's been monumental. So offloading some of that work to other people has just opened up my time, and not having kids is really the biggest secret.
It's too late
Because
for,
when
too
I
late
speak
for
to
some
other
of us.
people with kids and animals and all sorts of other responsibilities, it's mind-boggling. I don't have that. So when you clear out responsibility for other living things, it allows you to actually.
So then I'm going to actually ask Ruth's next question, because she was next to be asked. Somebody else was assigned, but long story, I'm going to take over. So Ruth, my question for you is, of course, you were WiCCD's first ever recipient of the WiCCD Women Award 2022. And I wonder if you can just tell us what that meant to you, if that was meaningful for you, and if so, why?
I can't even begin to tell you how the timing of that award coming in was so important to me. And I don't know if many of you know, and you might have seen some of my posts reaching out, I guess, just for support. But my cousin's daughter, who was 19 years old, was beaten to death by her boyfriend 2 years ago. Coming on 2 years now, and she was just 19 at the time. And honestly, like, I've lived my life as a defense lawyer. I've lived my core human being as presumption of innocence and the accused rights, and wanting to ensure that, you know, the system worked the way it was supposed to work. And then I found myself on the other side. And I gotta tell you, it hit me. It hit me to the core. It made me reevaluate what it was that I was doing and question a lot of what I did. And I've never, you know, in 26, almost 30 years, thinking defense like, have never thought that way before. I'd never thought, I mean, I know it sounds callous, but I really don't think about the complainants and the victims, because I need to be able to have that wall or that barrier up. I'm respectful, and I'm, you know, polite if I meet them in the hallways or the families in the hallways, because of course I'm a human being, I'm going to be kind, but I shut them down because they're not part of my case. They're not part of what I need to do. And finding myself as a member of the victim's family and having to deal with the VWAP and the Crown's office and defense lawyers, and specifically the defense lawyers who are on this prelim. Anyway, I won't get into that because that's happening currently, but I'll tell you what I thought about that award, because it came in at a time when I was contemplating seriously leaving the profession. I've done my time. I was ready to go. I've saved up enough money. I don't have kids, so I've got disposable income. And I thought, it's time. It's time for me to let go. And the award, I was flabbergasted. I fell to the floor and cried for a while, because it confirmed for me, more than anything else in the world, how important not only the work that we do, but the fact that we've made connections, and that you guys have become my tribe. Like I root for every single one of you, each and every single time I see you now, because I think the women of the defense bar are truly these amazing human beings who are carrying the world's burdens on their shoulders with compassion and dignity. And I'm so proud of all of you. And the fact that you recognized me as someone that was even deserving of this award, I love you all, and I thank you for that. I really do.
Well, thank you. That's the most moving speech, honestly. If my mascara's in my eye, that's not good. I'm gonna have to pause the recording to fix it. The next person who gets an award from us better have a speech like that, I think, where we're gonna take any award back away from that woman. Hamna, you're selecting our
Yes, thanks
next
so much
person.
for that, Ruth. So the next question is actually for Stephanie. I'll ask that question given you have to hop off first. I'm wondering, do you have a pump up song or something you do to hype yourself up, especially early on as a junior lawyer, like look at yourself in the mirror or listen to Beyonce? Just curious.
It's so funny that you asked that because for a really long time, my ringtone, I'm really dating myself by talking about something called a ringtone. My ringtone on my phone was this song, All I Do Is Win, 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 No Matter What, which pumped me up a lot. And then the other day, Anna Maria came bounding into our office playing on her phone speaker that song. And I was like, oh my God, we have kindred spirits. No wonder we got into practice together. I think that's the closest thing I have to a pump up song. Like I'm going up to bat and I'm going to put something on. Can I ask a question? I can't believe that Ruth got to ask Jordana a question and didn't ask her, what do I need to change in my practice to be able to afford that new Beamer that you have been splashing all over social media this week? That is
no kids, Stephanie. No kids. We missed the boat. Too late for us. We can't get rid of the kids.
You could. I don't know what Emma would say about that. You could.
You could. No, that's fair. That's fair. I should pause the recording a lot. Okay, where are we next? I have a Brianna, if you have a question for Neha.
What is your favorite part about being a defense lawyer?
Oh, the legal aid rates.
Yeah.
Has anyone seen my Toyota Sienna out in my driveway? With apple juice boxes and apple cores, granola bar wrappers.
Oh, you have a car? Yeah.
Well, pragmatically, my favorite part of being a sole practitioner is being my own boss and dictating my own hours. So I really love finishing a trial. Like today I finished at 3:15 and I was back in my office doing my own thing, leaving on my own terms. On the flip side, what I don't like about it is that I don't control my own hours. So if I'm served with something at 4 o'clock for a trial the next day, I'm looking at it all night. So it has a love-hate relationship. But I just really, I think that, and I hate to quote a man in this forum, but Franco Dario always says that being an advocate is the greatest privilege in the world. Standing beside someone in their darkest days it just feels like a great privilege. And hearing people's stories and stories of their lives and meeting their families, to me, that is just so rewarding. Yeah.
Thanks, Neha. So we'll move on to the next question. So we have both Lisa here who has a secret question for Shauna.
I do. Hi, Shauna. You are so amazing at all of the things that you seem to be into. We see little bits and pieces of the amazing advocacy work that you do surface here and there. So my question for you is, what part of your current practice interests you the most and why?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all. That's a difficult question because I think all of it is really interesting. In fact, that's one of the reasons why, people see me pop up in all different areas and all different things, because I just find what we do so incredibly interesting. Every single case gives us, a different set of circumstances, a different set of people that we're dealing with, different, circumstances and identities. And, I really love all of the casework and the education part of it. I mean, we all know so much about so many different areas relating to criminal law and mental health law and all sorts of different areas that kind of intersect with our practice. And it's just, I love to learn and I love to help, guide people in the right direction. So that's, my answer is everything, I guess. Thanks.
Oh, it's my turn. I have Jennifer, you have a question for Cassandra?
I do. Are you still there? Oh, there she is. Hi, Cassandra. So if you could go back to when you were finishing a law school and you could give yourself some advice thinking about your career, what would it be?
Good question. I mean, I was a risk taker from early on, but I guess just take the risk anyway and do it proudly and do it loudly, and don't let the people who are going to give you unsolicited advice try and talk you out of it, because that happened. And yeah, for me, I always knew I wanted to do criminal defense, and people told me I was crazy. I should go to a civil firm where you make lots of money. And then when I was doing criminal defense and I decided I wanted to do my own practice, I was told that that's so risky and how could you possibly think of doing that? Yeah, just quiet that noise a lot faster and just trust yourself and trust the process. You're the only one that knows you and knows what you're capable of. And if you're willing to do hard work and put your clients first, then good things will come. Thank you.
Thanks, Cassandra. So our next Secret Maya question is from Shauna. You have a question for Sarah?
I do. Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
Oh, there. Hi. So I know you've appeared in the Supreme Court quite a few times. I'm just wondering, do you have a routine or some things that you usually do to prep? And I don't mean like reviewing your case or your notes or anything like that. Do you have any kind of rituals that you do beforehand?
Sarah, buddy, your video's off as far as I can tell.
I know, I'm just getting to a spot where it's presentable.
Oh, you standing on your head? There.
Basically.
Yeah.
That's a good question. So one of the weird things, I'm in Alberta, and we've been doing video appearances 100% of the time that I've ever appeared there, which means by the time you log in the morning, the start time is something like, I don't know, 4:30 in the morning Alberta time. So honestly, I have tried to adjust my schedule for the few days in advance so that I'm not completely exhausted. Last time my boss picked me up so that I wasn't in an Uber when they started the tech check, on track to be slightly late for being the 3 hours early. And then I find some of the best advice I ever got was when I was an articling student, that stress is physical. And so when it gets to that, especially when you're doing video and it's so high stakes, but you're in a chair in front of a meticulously scrutinized video setup that they've reviewed with you 12 times, literally jumping up and down to burn off the energy to start to metabolize some of that adrenaline. I'm a pretty big meditator. And then I will watch really stupid, funny, animal videos or something else, right? Just to change the chemicals. Because at that point, either it's in your head or it's not in your head. But whether or not your body helps your brain execute it is going to be the big thing. And so whatever changes the chemicals, puts me in a good mood, like gets me a little looser. And then just like, I'm a pretty big gratitude journaler too. So just keeping in mind that is, you know, these are the problems that younger me would be so happy to have. Like, these are the stresses that I never thought I would get. So just to try to change the mood about it from complete fear to like gratitude, excitement, because I feel like stress and excitement are sometimes exactly the same feeling, but with different stories. So that's a big part of it.
Thanks for sharing that, Sarah. I'm happy to know other people also watch funny animal videos, because I just made a secret Instagram account for my cats. So that's going to be my side gig.
We should talk offline, because I have a not so secret Instagram account for my cat who in a horrifying mishap I didn't realize that you couldn't change your picture once you log on for the tech check in the SCC. Like, you're on for 2 hours, but once you're in, like, I don't know, or I couldn't figure it out. So my very first appearance ever, I turned off the camera like you're allowed to do after the court came in. And I have a picture of my cat in a little tuxedo as my Zoom profile picture. And somebody on the court side very quickly changed that. But she did briefly appear, I think, on the national webcast. So
she is a Siamese friend.
She is Devon Rex, but she's got that coloring. She's very pretty.
You know what? I didn't really mean to ask this. We don't have this kind of time. Maya,
I'll put pictures in the chat.
Yes, Maya Kotom, who you'll all remember, had what do you call it? The cartoon hijabi girl. What do you call them? The
Bitmoji.
Bitmoji. She had hijabi Bitmoji. She had smiling and angry and sad. One of them got stuck during one of the review board hearings. Was on there the entire time. And when her client finally met her in person, he said, "This isn't really what I thought you'd look like." I guess he thought she would look like the Bitmoji. So we are welcoming Naomi and Maya Martin, who's with us. And so our questioning kind of got a little misplaced. I'm going to try and pick up steam here and plug in the holes, Hamna, a little bit. So I'm going to go back to Neha. And Neha, I think you're meant to have a question for Maya.
Yes. I think I was meant to have a question for Christine Mainville, but come on. So Maya, my question for you is, how do you celebrate a win?
This is going to sound pathetic, but I
celebrate. There's no wrong answers.
I celebrate a win by taking the night off, by literally turning off my phone, not checking my email, not thinking about work. I give myself the evening, and whatever crisis is happening tomorrow is happening tomorrow. And it's literally the only time that I'm not thinking about work. So I turn my brain off and I completely disconnect.
Thanks for that, Maya. So we'll move on to the next question, which should be from Kyla to Naomi.
Hi, Naomi. So as defense lawyers, we are all controversial figures, and I want to know what you say to the naysayers who think that what you do and how you do it is controversial.
Okay, wait, sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yes, I said as defense lawyers, we are all controversial figures. And so I want to know what you say to the naysayers who think that what you do and how you do it is controversial.
Oh man. I sometimes don't even say anything. I just like, okay, like that's what you think is controversial, that's fine. And I don't spend any energy in responding to some comments about what I do or don't do. So it depends on the situation. So.
Yeah, I think silence is golden sometimes. What I like to say about that is there's real merit in the occasional unspoken thought. I've been told that I don't have a lot of unspoken thoughts, but I hear there's real merit in having some. I can certainly think of situations where no response is the best response. And by the way, men hate that. You don't respond to them, really irritates them. Maya's going to cut this part out of the video later. Okay, where are we in the list? Let me find my place. Cassandra, do you have a question for Kyla?
Sure. Hi, Kyla. My question for you is, do you have a case in particular that was memorable to you? And that could be for any reason, the good, the bad, the ugly, and why?
That's so hard. I mean, there's lots. There's like my first trial win. That was really memorable to me because I really cared about the client. But also my favorite part about it was when she was acquitted, she skipped out of the courthouse like a schoolgirl and sang, "They'll never catch me again." And that just made me really happy. And that was probably the happiest I've ever seen a client get an acquittal. I don't think I've ever seen anyone that happy since. So that's always stuck with me.
That's really cute.
Hamna, should Amanda ask her question of Lisa? Because our list has run into the wall, really. Or should we just like see if anyone's left who has a question to ask and pick on someone who hasn't answered?
I think Jordana might have a question for Emma.
Oh, right. Okay.
I do. Hi, Emma.
Hi.
Hi.
There you are. Okay, I needed to find you in the Brady box. There you go. Hi.
Right here. Hi. In your episode of Finding Your Niche, you talk about the nature of your practice and why you chose to focus on youth, but you don't discuss how you built your youth practice. So can you tell us what you did from a marketing perspective to build the practice initially and what you do to keep the work coming through the door?
Okay, so initially I just used to go to 311 Jarvis and hang out. Like it was really just as easy as that. And seeing youth that looked lost and going and talking to them. And then the word just kind of spread. So I don't really market myself because the clients kind of find me. Like I think they just kind of find me. My name gets around, and now like society or children's aid societies know me, and different agencies know me. So I get a lot of referrals from actually CAS workers now and from other agencies. But so I don't really do anything. But before I was just I was trolling the halls, talking to people, and then and the main thing too to keep that going is that once somebody turns 18, like they graduate, and I do not take them. And so I was like, oh sure, you develop relationships with some clients who. And if they get charges on else, you'll represent them. It's like, nope, I don't. Because as soon as you start doing that, you don't have a youth practice anymore. So I have a really clear, once you turn 18, I'm going to refer you to somebody else.
Okay.
So yeah, unfortunately, that's one way to get going that's kind of lost to us, sort of pandemic Zoom. It's hard to hang out, on Zoom. You can try and go from Zoom to Zoom, but it's not as good as hanging out at 311 Jarvis.
There's a lot of things that I'm really lucky about. Like when I was born, when I started law school, I went to where'd I go? Osgood, and it was under $4,000 a year. I was able to like buy myself property. It's like a different. I don't know how lawyers starting out now do it. Like many of us that are here, we were at the right time where we could actually afford to go to law school. So. I'm been very lucky just in terms of how old I am.
So I think I am gonna suggest, Amanda, that you ask Lisa your question and just, amend as necessary.
Absolutely. So hi, Lisa. So
Hi,
my question is, we're hopefully nearing the end of, the pandemic era. All of us have gone through a lot of changes and, done some self-reflection and made sacrifices and hopefully had some good times as well as bad times. And so I'm wondering, coming out of all of this, what is a goal that you have for yourself over the next year or so?
The main goal for me out of the pandemic is to really integrate some of the creative things that got me through the pandemic that I thought I'd shed years ago back into a regular routine. Because as you know, this job can be all or nothing. So you're in a 6-week murder trial you're barely dragging yourself home at the end of the day to, have a bowl of soup and collapse into bed. So one of the things that I'm really trying to do is create a lot of space for the things that I really felt that I left behind in my 20s to be a serious person, that I'm finding a lot of joy in. So I've taken up watercolors again. I just had my first poetry reading in 23 years. And I'm working on a novel. So I'm having a lot of the things that I'm carrying from the pandemic are actually the good feelings of having a bit of space, even amongst the fear, to try and do those new things. And that's really what I'm carrying with it. And I'm just wanted to say I'm so glad to be here to say hello to Maya and be a part of this event. So thank you so much for having me.
That's so cool. And if I could ask one follow-up question, what is your novel about?
Oh, yeah.
My novel is set in a post-climate change world where the powers of the world have, in essence, all disintegrated. So people are in small, sort of almost like rural farming enclaves. And it's about a woman who finds out that her mother was not killed in an uprising and basically has to take the person that she dislikes the most from her current civilization into what is a fairly wild, albeit urban environment.
Yeah. Lisa's kind of, doesn't get a lot done in the day. One of the things she and I were bonding about over Twitter was she was not a native speaker of Hungarian. She thought she would try through Duolingo to learn Hungarian. And she was like actually doing that. I can honestly tell you as a native speaker of Hungarian that this is one of the hardest things in terms of a task that you could ever set for yourself. And then plus she's written this novel. And just a bit of a slouch there.
In my
pick up steam. Yes.
In my defense, my fiance's mother's oldest sister, I thought only spoke Hungarian. It turns out she just doesn't want to admit she speaks any English. So that made communication a lot easier once I tried starting to speak Hungarian.
There you go. So I think I'm not, I've lost the thread completely here. I'm sorry. I think Jennifer maybe has not had.
I have a question for Jennifer.
Okay, that works out.
Yes.
If anyone else has got FOMO of any sort, we will think of something to ask you, but please go ahead. Emma, that's great.
Jennifer, you have 1 extra hour a day. You can't spend it with family, work, sleep, or working out. What are you going to do?
I knew you would have a doozy, Emma. I have an extra hour in the day. What am I going to do? I'd probably read. Is reading off the list? And read a personal book, like my own book.
Yeah, it can't be law related. Yeah, read it off. No, that's great.
I would read books. I would read. If I can't go to bed without reading, and I'm often struggling because I have work to do and I'm really into my book. So I want to go read my book. So I would.
What are you reading right now?
I'm actually in between books. I was thinking I was going to start The Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver.
Yeah. I just read Lisa's book if you're between books. It all
is it out? When it comes out, send it to me. Or tell me how to buy it.
Neha's got suggestions for you in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I've got suggestions for everybody. Anybody want book recommendations?
Read the
But that's amazing that you still know how to read, because that's one of the things I kind of lost the ability to do. That, a lot of lawyers say that. It's like, how do you read a novel? So that's amazing that I find it really hard to read.
I can't sort of function without it, actually.
So everyone, I see that Sid has joined us. I see a beautiful picture of her lovely horse and lovely her with the horse, but she is with us. Sid, are you with us? There.
I am.
So
I think I am. Oh, there you can see just the top of my head. Yeah, there we go.
We're actually entering a new phase of this video, and I'm gonna hand it over to Sid for the closing phase of our hour spent together. Some of us.
Well, this is a very important meeting. One of the most important meetings that we've had, because we're actually gathered here today to pay special tribute to a special woman who we are so grateful to have as part of our organization, Maya. I see you smiling. Your big enthusiastic smile we have an award for you. We've called it the Wonder Award. And we call it the Wonder Award, not only because you are a wonder, Maya, but also because we wonder where you get all your energy. And we wonder how you keep all of your enthusiasm. And we wonder, where does that big sunny smile come from all the time? And we wonder at how you are constantly coming up with all of these fresh and innovative ideas. And most of all, we wonder what we would do without you. We are so happy and grateful to have you with us and to have you helping us expand and to helping contribute in a huge way, in a really significant way to our success. So congratulations, Maya. You have done incredibly good work, and we are so happy to have you, so grateful to have you. You more than deserve this. Somebody has the award here somewhere. Cass, do you have it?
That's me. Hello. There's your beautiful
Wicked
award.
Wonder Award. Hold it up. So Maya Shukairy, Wicked Wonder. It's our first ever Wicked Wonder Award. Yay. So now, Maya, do you have something to say that will make us cry like Roots?
Well, I honestly, first of all, thank you so much, everyone. I find like this wonder thing is a bit too much for me, but thank you. I really appreciate that all of you are here. I've interviewed most of you, and so I'm just like very happy to see you. And I know you're all very busy, so for you to take the time to be here is really something I really appreciate. It's really very nice. I mean, I don't feel that what I'm doing for Wicked is work. It's actually a break from work. That's why I like doing it, because it gives me, you know, like just unhappy moments where I can get to do something fun, interesting, but still related to work. So I don't feel like I'm really wasting time. So I'm just really happy about everything I do for Wicked. I love this association. I like everything that I did and all the people that I got to meet through Wicked. I mean, I never thought that I would ever connect with many of you, especially many of you are in the GTA or not even in the East region. So it was really very nice for me to get to know more about you and to see how amazing you are. And many of you, maybe I've just heard about you as lawyers, but with the series, I got to get to know a bit more about you as people, as just, you know, like individuals. And I was very happy, and it made me proud to feel that I'm, you know, like I have amazing colleagues. I just feel like every time I interview someone, like, oh my God, I have to do so much more to get to that level, because you're all very accomplished lawyers. So I admire all of you. And I'm really very grateful for this award. I really wasn't expecting it. And as for where I get my energy, Sid, I don't know. I'm always tired. So I'm surprised that I look like I have energy. Maybe it's the music I listen to. I listen to techno a lot. There's a lot of energy in techno. If nobody listens to that, but I don't know. It's music maybe, or I just like to be energetic. I like to work out, and I find energy is life. So you have to have energy, even if you're tired. I'm super tired right now, but I also have energy. So I like having energy. But again, I really can't thank you enough. I'm like, I don't know what to say. I'm very like, I wish I can give all of you an award. And I hope that with every interview, we were able to put the spotlight on each one of you and show how amazing each one of you is and how important you are for the profession. I really hope that you won't go and become crowns. I'll be very sad. We just lost Christine. She became a judge though, so hopefully she'll be good for us on the bench. But I really hope that we will all, you know, like continue to be on the defense side, because I just love being a defense lawyer. And Ruth's speech was really very emotional. I mean, mine is not. And but it was it's very nice that she also got that award at that time where she felt like she had to leave the profession, and I'm glad that she's not. And I hope we will all be defense lawyers, and maybe, you know, like after a few years we can have other interviews, like follow-ups, just to see how we're still doing as defense lawyers.
So Maya, in addition to the award, Cassandra is going to ship the award to you, and it's, as you see, similar statue as Roots got, except it's WiCCD Wonder and the first ever. I mean, there may never be another WiCCD Wonder. To be honest, Maya, if you were the sort of threshold test for what a WiCCD Wonder has to be, I think any subsequent WiCCD Wonder would die before they got the award. Maya says to me often, you know, she says, I just wish there was more I could do for WiCCD. And it's honestly exhausting trying to come up with stuff for Maya to do, you know, not even doing it, but she's like the associate or the student that always wants the next file, you know, she wants to know, what are we doing next? What's happening next? Luckily, Maya comes up with her own ideas, and Find Your Niche is a huge success. Maya is completely and 100% to be credited for the idea for it. And when you watch this video, you'll hear her talking about the initial impetus and how she came up with the idea for this series. As you know, we've had a sort of a second series sort of starting out and budding, and we've called it Who Cares, which personally I think is hilarious. But the idea is, who cares about this? Who cares about that? Who are the people who care about, for example, venture elections and any issues that people think about? I Find Your Niche. I told Maya this, and I'm here to say, I think it's changing the perception of women in criminal defense. With every person who watches the video, and now thousands of people have watched these videos, it's not just women watching the videos. It's had the impact of normalizing, celebrating the successes of women in criminal defense, so that we are not one woman being featured amidst a sea of men. Celebrating our women colleagues. These awards are meaningful. Getting to know our women colleagues, you know, the regular stream of Sunday morning cup of coffee, getting to know one of your women colleagues, whether it's a senior woman in defense or a young lawyer starting out who also has a lot to contribute and to bring to the profession. I think this is a huge contribution, actually, to the profession that Maya has made. And WiCCD just happens to be the fortunate vehicle to host this work. Maya is a pleasure to work with. She's endlessly positive. Maya, you know, your energy and your enthusiasm is infectious. You know, I personally have a real tendency to darkness and toward depression from time to time. It's not what you would normally see because it's not very entertaining, and I like to entertain people. It's very good for me to be around people who are upbeat and positive. And, you know, ultimately as loving as you are, Maya, because really Maya loves the women in the profession. She loves the work. She loves the clients. She loves the camaraderie, the support, and the community that WiCCD is offering to our members. So I couldn't be more proud of Maya or of WiCCD, the 400 and you know, some odd women that in 1 year have joined us on this journey, the over 1,000 followers on our Twitter account that have joined us. Maya is a huge part of that. She's a huge reason why we are where we are. She is the greatest cheerleader and the best ambassador for WiCCD, and she richly deserves this award. WiCCD Wonder doesn't begin to cover it. Part of the fun of doing it this way and surprising her this way is because we knew she would be intensely uncomfortable. Personally, I enjoy that. How it started was Neha had the idea actually that we should just someone should interview Maya because of all these Find Your Niche interviews that she's done. So Hamna and I naively reached out to Maya and said, hey, someone should interview you, and one of us would be happy to do that. And Maya said, you know, basically she'd rather die. I mean, very uncomfortable experience, very invasive, which we thought was a nervy response, having done all these interviews and all of us offering ourselves up and gutting ourselves, you know, opening up the way that we had done. But Maya was, oh no, excuse me, I would never. That's horrible. So we had to switch gears and figure out something else. And we knew the award would also make her squirm a little bit. Now it has, but it's there, and no one more deserving, Maya. So congratulations. And I am proud to know you. We're all so proud of you and so thrilled that you're part of WiCCD. And I think with that, we're right on time. Maya and I have to go and socialize with some Osgood students now. So do a little speed mentoring, at which time, my head will explode, but Maya will still be smiling. So we're off to that. Is there anything anyone wants to say? I want to thank everyone for coming. And I know this was, very regimented. You are to show up at this moment, not a moment earlier, a moment later, and I apologize for that. But it was the only way it was going to roll out like this. So thank you so much for being here, everyone. Oh, wait, should we take a picture? I can probably, should I pause the recording while I figure out how to do the picture? Or should we record the picture taking experience? Why don't I pause it? I don't know how to do any of this, so it's going to be wonderful to see whether it works. I'm going to pause the recording and we're going to take a